Answer.
Oh, yeah. Named Love. Good morning. Amy Jacobson here. Sean from Elmwood Park. Sitting in for Dan Proft today. Good morning, Sean.
Oh, the guest's name. I said, I got to know this guy.
Sean, do you go by Sean Thompson or do you go Sean from Elmwood Park? Or do you do both?
Believe it or not, it's actually, I use my last name instead of a town I moved to after I got married. I'm silly that way. But go ahead.
Well, yesterday, Mayor Lightfoot, she hasn't had a press conference in a while, but she had some strong words for Alderman Tom Tawney, who kept Ann Sather restaurant open. He let some people come in through the back. Regulars, they wore masks, but she was upset. She's very disappointed.
Obviously, I'm deeply disappointed.
Yeah, so are we.
I've known Tom Tawney for 25 plus years. I consider him a friend. And he understands what he did was absolutely wrong. And I've heard from a number of restaurateurs about this issue. But the one thing that they've consistently said to me throughout this very difficult year for them is just be fair, Mayor. Make sure that whatever the rules are, that they are enforced uniformly, that there's no exceptions. And when people break those rules, that they are held accountable. Alderman Tawney.
Okay. Oh, breaking rules and being held accountable? What about when you, Mayor Lightfoot, decided to go get a haircut when the rest of us were told to shelter in place and only necessary travel? And you could remember all the salons were closed and she went and then took a picture with her stylist without masks on. Do you remember that? Did she pay a fine for that,
Yes.
Sean?
She needs a magician, not a beautician. But go ahead.
Well, yesterday, a group of the Chicago Restaurant Coalition and the Fulton Market Association met. They had a press conference, and one of the demands or requests was to have a Zoom conference with Lori Lightfoot, with the mayor. And she was surprised and was a little taken off.
Now, this Fulton Market Group, I will just tell you, I never appreciate hearing that somebody is demanding a meeting with the mayor for the very first time through the media.
The arrogance.
I think if you're serious and you have something you want to bring to my attention, you actually just contact me and you don't do it through the media. So I'll find out the particulars of that and we'll deal with it in the normal course.
I mean, does she have thin skin or what? All Marianne Ahern, who was the pool reporter there yesterday, said was, hey, they want to meet with you. And that was her reaction. With more on this, let's welcome the executive director of the Fulton Market Association, Roger Romenelli. Good morning, Roger. How are you?
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Sean.
All right. So what did you think of Lori Lightfoot's there when she heard about your request to meet with her, or your demands, because you're so demanding?
I thought this was the United States of America and free speech was encouraged. And, we are a community group across now with our new Chicago Restaurants Coalition called Chicago. We asked our elected officials for something at a press conference. That's what we do in America. I don't know what country the mayor's thinking this is, but that's what we do in America. So last night I sent the mayor a direct email and her staff, and I said, hey, participate in our Zoom call next Tuesday. Let's have dialogue.
And what is your end game? You want what you're asking for, I think, is quite reasonable. You want 20% of indoor dining available by what date?
We are targeting Friday, January 15th. The Chicago Public Schools and the mayor have announced that some of the schools are going to restore in-person learning on January 11th. So many businesses are operating still right now. The restaurants have been closed all of November and likely all of December. So we figured after a 75-day indoor dining punishment, Friday, January 15th, safely at 20% occupancy makes perfect sense.
Roger, a friend of mine, I have multiple friends in the restaurant business, and I'm always amazed at the amount of money that you pay in licensing, whether it's that liquor license extortion mafia racket or the business license. I'm also amazed in the amount of money that you've lost, some willingly, some not so willingly. My question to you is, why don't you form a group and file a class action lawsuit against Tiny Tim and the rest of the skullduggery 50 Thieves aldermen and prove how much money this has cost you, your livelihood? Are you to have no recourse even though you paid these licensing fees? Or are you just to admit you don't own anything?
Sean, great point. So let me just say 1, 2, 3. Number one, Chicago has suffered tremendously because we have had no Chicago-focused restaurants coalition. We are building that coalition, and we have members now, and it's all volunteer right now, but we've got people from all across the world. the most affordable effort, Sean, the most affordable route for the struggling restaurants and for us as a nonprofit is to apply political pressure on our elected officials through wonderful media sources like yourself. That's exactly what we're doing now. That's exactly what we did yesterday. And we hope the mayor will come to the table and talk about this issue. If we go the legal route, Sean, that's thousands of dollars that these restaurants don't have right now. They're paying, like you said, sales tax, electricity, property tax. You know, they're trying to keep their employees on their health insurance. So, look, the last thing you want to do is involve lawyers as far as I'm concerned. People in Chicago need to organize and need to present their concerns to the elected officials, and we can present them in any form we want. If we want a press conference, a letter, go on your show. But that's the most effective, cost-effective route, and that's how we're leading our restaurants forward.
And, Roger, the reality is these are lawyers. You are going up against lawyers who have managed to contort and manipulate the law. My question is, if you were up for, you have the coalition, you have the numerous headcounts, I really do think there's a lawyer out there. I mean, you watch TV. They're ready to slip and fall. They got 50 guys that'll represent you for free. I think the same would be the case if you were articulating the fact monetary is the only thing that matters. You're not looking for a handout. You're looking for a replacement of the money that was stolen from you.
If any lawyer wants to help represent the new citywide Chicago Restaurants Coalition, that, by the way, we're going to compete with the Illinois Restaurant Coalition. We could talk a lot about that, Illinois Restaurant Association.
They're bought and paid for.
We could talk about that. There's a lot of evidence. But if anybody wants to help represent the coalition, ChicagoRestaurants.org is our new website, ChicagoRestaurants.org. Send us an email. Let's talk. But again, Sean and Amy, you saw what happened yesterday. The reporter asked the mayor, would you meet with these people? And then why would anybody get upset? We're trying to make the city better. You know, these restaurants, not only do they pay all the tax, like you talked about, the employed people, we're working with them to prevent crime. We're working with them to improve infrastructure. These restaurants want to be a part of the city, want to be part of making Chicago the best city on the whole planet.
I understand that, Roger, and I feel bad for all the restaurant and bar owners. I mean, 5 of them have closed in our neighborhood, 5, and they're not opening again, bars and restaurants, a total of 5. But why don't you fight back and just stay open like they're doing in the suburbs and in northern Illinois? And I know they're doing it, you know, the restaurants south of I-80 are not listening to Pritzker's edict.
Yeah, first of all, I don't own a restaurant. I've been working in Chicago neighborhoods for 30 years as an urban planner, economic development staff. So I don't personally own a restaurant. I do not encourage people to break the law. I encourage people that when the law is wrong, we have to mobilize. We have to organize. I'm talking economic development organizing. I'm not talking union organizing here, although, I do respect that some people have that option. But I'm talking about business owners that you said, Sean and Amy, they're paying millions of dollars, right? They're not getting the service they need. We need to coalesce. We need to organize. And it is a shame that Sam Toya from the Illinois Restaurant Association said in the Sun-Times regarding Alderman Tunney, I hope he doesn't do it again. That is unbelievable. Our coalition has said, fine Tunney to the maximum extent of the law, and he should resign as zoning committee chair.
How much do you want him fined?
Whatever it costs the restaurant.
$10,500.
Yeah.
No, the max is $10,500. That's what he should get. So, Amy, the point is that we are coalescing restaurants in Chicago like never before, and this is what they need. This is what they've asked for.
And, Roger, the reality is you have an opportunity also to shed a light on just kind of what extortion you're under by the city of Chicago. The reality is, I'd like you to explain to the people how you do not have the opportunity to buy your product, your liquor or food for that matter, at the best rates, how you are steered towards buying it through politically connected both liquor distributors and food distributors. Isn't that right?
You know, I don't have as much experience because, like I said, I'm not a restaurant owner. But we do know that I think for years there was one company run by some folks who might have something to do with the United Center.
Yeah.
They kind of had a bit of a monopoly on liquor distribution, but I don't know where that is right now, Sean. But I'm happy to listen to you.
Oh, Roger, you are smart.
Roger,
see?
I mean, the rest of during your press conference yesterday, you also want Mayor Lightfoot to press ComEd to delay electricity bill payments from January 1st to April 30th.
Yeah, Amy. I mean, look, ComEd just said they're going to pay a $200 million fine for bribing government officials. Surely they can let our struggling restaurants not pay their bills or not pay, delay their bill payments through April of next year. This is another solution. We have to bring ComEd into this pandemic. Goodness gracious, these people paying a $200 million fine, and they better afford. They better let our restaurants.
My favorite part about that, Roger, they're actually paying it to the government that they corrupted. So not only did the government was corrupted with this deal, they're making the $200 million fine. It is a scam, de tutte scam, that our ancestors from the boot would be proud of if they could pull it off again.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is the land of Lincoln. This needs to be the land of term limits. Every politician in this state, from dog catcher to governor, 8 years and you're out. That's it.
Well, we have term limits for the governor, but Mike Madigan, I mean,
Should have weight limits.
His number, the writing's on the wall for him. He's not going to be speaker. The votes aren't there yet.
Yeah, all right. I'll bet you. Go ahead.
Do you want to bet me?
Roger, listen. You know this, brother. You're from this area. Are you telling me that some of these constituents didn't rubber stamp this kind of corruption by just going along with it to a certain extent?
Well, they sure did rubber stamp it. We have to come together as people in Illinois and say we will never, ever, ever accept corruption. So we have to come together. We have to continue to get great media and your programs like yours that inform people. We have to organize together as a state. I mean, anybody that can't see that Mr. Madigan's corruption basically should disqualify him from continued speakership. And this is my personal opinion. But it's shocking to see the corruption. But again, the corruption exists because there are no term limits. The corruption exists because we still have to bring forums together for people to demand better government.
All right. Thank you there, Roger Romenelli, Executive Director of Fulton Market Association. Good luck, and we'll have you back on soon.
Thank you both. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson. We want to tell you about our 2020 Food for the Poor campaign. Food for the Poor is a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local organizations throughout the Caribbean and Latin America. Folks, these are places that have been devastated by poverty, disease, and this year, Food for the Poor is helping with a new crisis, COVID. As you can imagine, COVID has made a devastating effect